Hello, we are live.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello. Oh, look, you guys are. Oh, we're super zoomed in on me. Oh, hi. Hello. Hello.
Well, you're the star.
Okay. Yeah. Hi. Oh, look, it's like 90. Look at all these community members. So many Smashley
I see so
Love to
much
see it.
Smashley love. Well, hi everybody. Welcome to our webinar. Thank you so much for being here. We have our special guest Smashley. Many of you know her as a wonderful fundraiser that is very knowledgeable about everything Tiltify. If you don't know, I am Izzy. I am the social media manager at Tiltify. Unofficial title is Fundraiser Hype Woman. So if you ever need anything, I've got you. And if I don't got you, then Kenny, who is also at Tiltify, our community specialist. Kenny, if you want to talk about yourself.
Yeah, my name's Kenny. I'm new and nervous. That's all I exist as right now is new and nervous.
Kenny, you don't have to be nervous. You don't have to
Too
be
bad.
nervous.
It's
Really
happening.
okay.
You'll be great.
But no, I'm the new community manager. I'm the one that sends the pins out to everyone when you hit your milestones. And we're working on a bunch of videos to highlight all of you awesome community members.
Yeah,
Andy's
like all
also
these
nervous,
cuties in chat. So many cuties in chat. And I guess I'm Smashley. Hi. Hello. I'm Smashley. I do the fundraising things. I like to raise a lot of money for charity. I've been broadcasting on Twitch for almost 11 years, which is an insane amount of time. And I like being able to take this gift that this community has given me of being able to do this full time and give back to people who are less fortunate or need our help. And we do a lot of good. Thanks to these lovely folks over at Tiltify. Wouldn't be able to do anything without the amazing platform you guys have put together. So thank you for having me, and thank you for honoring me by bringing me on to ask questions about how I do what I do. But it's really you guys, and you guys have the crazy awesome platform.
Well, Smashley, you have done so much, and you were a top 30 fundraiser last year. You were one of the top 30 fundraisers, so very honored that you chose some time out of your busy schedule. If y'all don't know, Smashley has a game releasing on Tuesday that has been kind of like a life's passion, so very excited for her.
Yeah, on Tuesday, I accomplished one of my lifelong dreams of making a video game. So on Tuesday, I have a game that is releasing, published by Tiny Build, and it's called Ramen. It's RAWMEN, and it's not as bad as you think. It's a food fighting game. It's all of the weapons in our game are food, and that's releasing Tuesday. I'm really nervous and excited, and
very excited.
And yeah, it should be good, right? And hopefully, I did all my coding properly.
I think it'll be great. Well, I guess that's it for introductions. Do we want to get into the presentation?
Let's do it.
Yeah, you guys want to learn how to raise money for charity? Let's do it. Yeah? Well, I'm going to teach you, Weeble. It's okay. I got you, Kenny.
All right. So if you are here, hopefully you know Tiltify. If not, you're going to get to know Tiltify today. Tiltify is the #1 platform for interactive fundraising. So if you are in the digital age, as we all are, and you want to fundraise for a good cause, for a good charity, we're here for you. So with over $200 million raised for nonprofits and over 6,000 global charities on our platform, we're here to redefine traditional charitable donations. Traditionally, a lot of those fundraising websites that you see out there, they're okay. You might have an image, you'll have a donate button and some text. Cool stuff there. And traditionally, you'll see, hi, will you give to my campaign? Here, $50. See you next year. See you later. They go sayonara. But with Tiltify, we wanted to redefine how that looks. So your fundraising says, if we raise $5,000, I'm going to donate here. And then the donor says, that's funny. Here's $50. But then the fundraiser says, we raise $1,000 today, then add stripes to my hair. And then they say, you know what? That's really fun. Here's another $25. Then you ask, what color should I dye my hair? Donor's going to say, I'm going to put $25 on pink. And then you say, if you're fundraising for St. Jude, $25 provides a no more chemo party. The donor says, I was going to donate $15, but for $10 more, I'll give $25. And guess what? These are our tools. You have your milestones, you have your targets, you have your polls, and you have your rewards. And those are just the basics at Tiltify. If you go away from this webinar saying, didn't take away anything but this, milestones, targets, polls, and rewards are what you need to know.
It's absolutely how I end up raising so much money too. Like, it's such a huge difference from how it used to be of just going, hey, can you donate to our campaign? And now we have all of these tools available to us to kind of facilitate that and to give back more to the people who are donating and incentivize that in huge ways, even if it means I'm end up eating like pickle cotton candy again. So
I think it was Danica with the ranch cotton candy. She tried it and she was like, I can fix this, and just went and got garlic powder and like dumped half the jar into the ranch cotton candy.
God.
I was like, oh.
So bad.
Oh.
I ended up having to eat the entire tub of ranch cotton candy, thanks to a similar thing of like, hey, if we raise $1,000 today, it was, if you donate $1,000 right now, I will eat the whole thing. And somebody did. And so I ate the whole thing like immediately. And it was one of the most awful experiences I've ever done. But $1,000 for St. Jude's Children's Hospital is pretty amazing.
That's incredible. Definitely.
We used polls in our last one to decide who was the best Sonic the Hedgehog character, and people are very opinionated about their Sonic the Hedgehog characters. It turns out, it was for the second best because we all know Big the Cat is the best Sonic the Hedgehog character.
I don't really feel like that's true.
That's undisputable.
But is it though?
Flicky came in second.
Okay.
So here's a campaign page example. If you can see, it is custom colors. You can do that now. We'll talk about that here in a minute. But yes, this shows off milestones, polls, and rewards. This Katie is trying to raise $10,000 for a charity. You know what? At $4,000, Matt is going to lip sync Who Let the Dogs Out. That's fun. We have a poll going on. We have rewards. You can customize these. So if you want your rewards on top, if you want the about section on top, you can do that now. So we'll talk more about that in a minute. Next we're going to talk about our tools and features. This is where you're going to be taking notes, everybody. This is where you're going to be like, okay, I'm going to remember this, yeah?
So that's right. This is note section.
Note section. First one is rewards. Rewards are incentives, and they can be digital or physical. If they are physical, you have to be responsible for setting them out. Bungee Day is going on right now, so there's lots of emblems, and as you can see, there are quantities. So once they're gone, but you can also have them unlimited. So I believe this was from Sweet Anita, that for a $12 donation, she'll do 10 seconds of juggling. Or for $15, she'll tell a dad joke. And I'll link it later. A lot of experienced fundraisers have to come together, and there's a Notion board with all sorts of incentive ideas. So if you're starting a fundraiser and you're like, I want to do some fun rewards, I want to do some fun incentives, but you're not sure what to do, we got you. We got you there.
This is actually, I think the reward section is probably where I spend the majority of my time on your platform. But it's also how we end up raising so much money, honestly.
Some killer rewards.
Yeah. We do a lot of raffles that we handle like kind of through the reward system. which is so much thanks to about 1 million different companies that I reach out to, which we can touch more on later. But the reward system in general, though, is super amazing for going, hey, I'll eat like Bean Boozle, which, if you don't know, are awful for most of the time. And or I'll eat, ranch flavored cotton candy and stuff like that. And that's how, like, honestly, the reward system is probably the most profitable thing on your like platform, at least for me. And I think a lot of that comes down to instant gratification, right? If it's something that you can immediately do and show people like, hey, your donation is going to immediately make this happen, um, people feel very rewarded for that. And I think it's kind of rewarding, like giving them so much more than just a receipt back saying thanks for your contribution to charity. It allows them to feel like, hey, I got something else for this too. And I try to make
Exactly.
sure like almost every donation is kind of honored that way in some way, shape, or form. I actually don't think in my last campaign that we had so little. I'd probably say like 1% of our donations that weren't either a reward or poll or combination of thereof. Like, it is very much utilizing those systems to the nth degree.
Speaking of polls, that is our next slide. So you say that rewards are your most impactful, but did you know that from our data, polls are actually statistically the most impactful fundraising tool that we have on our platform? And they're real easy to set up. You can have up to 5 options. And with our new customizable campaigns, you can put them at the top or you can put them wherever. And, they're pretty versatile. As you can see, this is saying what generation of Final Fantasy is the best. What do I do with my hair? How
Uh,
Kenny had, what is the best Sonic character?
I love them. Actually, the time you guys first introduced polls, I had a great idea. And Izzy, I know you remember this one. But when you guys first introduced polls, we had a great idea of we were gonna let chat pick what toppings go on my pizza. And it spawned the Franken pizza. And we have since had 3 Franken pizzas that have been absolutely awful. Most of the time. The most recent one actually came out pretty good, but some of them had full-on clams on them, like in the shells. One of them had giant meatballs on it. Absolutely, yeah. There's a pizza emote in chat, I think,
Didn't
with
someone die
meatballs.
recently eating clams?
Did they really?
Yeah. I mean,
Like,
on a
You get
positive note,
dangerous
polls
pizza.
polls are all over the place. Sea Dog, for his charity auction that was on Friday, did a poll of sandwich toppings. And I
yes.
think the sandwich ended up being watermelon for the bread.
Oh
There
my
was
god.
peanut butter, nacho cheese, wasabi, and apparently the sandwich was actually not that bad. That several of the creators came up and had multiple bites. I don't
Oh
understand.
no. That sounds
But
awful.
the thing is, I know a lot of our fundraisers are content creators, always looking for unique ways to make content. And I think a lot of our tools, especially polls, flows into that.
It really does. And as a matter of fact, like I 100% can understand how polls is probably your top fundraising thing across the platform. I mean, I went back and tallied it up, and just this year alone, we've raised $4,000 on chat just picking my outfit for the day. Like I would put that up for a vote and let them pick between, like 4 different outfits, but it was $4,000 raised for charity on just like, hey, what am I wearing?
Mhm.
So you can really see how like giving them even more impactful poll decisions, like, Sonic characters
It's
can
the great
really
debate
help
of our
raise
age.
very, very
Really.
debate. But that is one thing I notice is like the closer you can make those options, right? Because like a lot of times I'd be talking to my team and be like, what should we add to this poll? And they they just suggest one that'd be an overwhelming favorite, and I'd be like, no, we can't do that. And they'd be like, why? And I was like, because then people are only going to pick that one. I was like, the closer you can have that poll be to other options where people are unsure or highly contested or highly debatable, makes that poll infinitely better.
Yes, very much so. Moving on. Milestones are another one that we love. As you can see here, some examples. At $100, put on cat ears. Reading pages from childhood diaries is a personal favorite of mine. So that's always a good milestone or reward. Milestones are going to be your markers, your sub goals. So say you're trying to raise $1,000. Well, at the halfway point, $500. Let's do something fun. Let's do something cool. Let's have that motivation to go ahead and hit that milestone. Smashley, I know that you have so many milestones on your campaign.
Too many. Maybe too many. I'm still trying to fulfill them from May, by the way. I'm still trying. I have a huge list of ones I still have to go through. And like, I have like cosplays I have to do and different streams that I have to do. Probably too many. But I at least have some advice in this category, which is one, pre-planning for milestones is a huge thing. Like people are like, how do you come up with milestones? How do you figure out what you're doing? How do you make yours so good? So on and so forth. And like I see a bunch of my mod team in chat right now, but they know because I bring them in starting about a month in advance, and we start trying to figure out like what are we doing for milestones. And we will just like, it will be like, no idea is too dumb, right? And we'll just put it into a giant list. And then we'll start going through and we'll go through that list and go, is this something we want to repeat? Is this something I'm willing to do more than once? Or is this something I only want to do once, like eating ranch cotton candy or eating it in a raw onion, which by the way, I don't recommend ever doing that. It doesn't seem that bad. It was the worst, I think the worst milestone I've ever done, ever. My breath smelled like onion for a week. It was really bad. But we'll put them into a giant list, and then we'll try to organize them from like top to bottom in order of like severity, sort of like how bad is this, but also and how bad does like chat want it, right? Like how like a slave Leia cosplay from some Star Wars is pretty high up there for like chat incentives, right? Like, but I also really don't want to do that. So we'll put that one like way down at the bottom of the list, but then we'll put other ones like way at the top, like, I don't know, playing an RPG with dual joysticks or a racing. I played like Elden Ring with a racing wheel, which is really ridiculous, but it's also fun to do those. So we'll put them in a giant order, just from top to bottom, and then we'll go through after that and go, all right, how do we disperse this throughout from 0 to our ultimate milestone goal, our goal of hitting, like I think we originally had a goal of $30,000 this for St. Jude. We ended up hitting 63,000, but a lot of that was thanks to a ton of milestones. People really want to see those. So organizing them is probably the hardest and longest process, but it also allows you to kind of grab a bunch of those milestones, and like if you need to order stuff for them or get like a wheel. I had like a giant wheel of fortune behind me for stuff and things like that. So or ordering really weird flavored sodas. But ordering them ahead of time and stuff, like definitely pre-planning for the milestones especially is a huge portion.
I was going to say, put in as much effort as you're comfortable with, but usually the more effort you put in, the more you do get out of it, but don't overuse your spoon.
Yeah, I kind of did this year. But at the same time, it's also really great to kind of like shoot for something you really want. Like shooting for a really lofty goal. I personally really wanted to beat my last year's total of $62,000 raised for St. Jude. But I also realized that we had just fundraised a ton of money for the American Heart Association earlier this year. And I didn't think, I very naively didn't think that we would hit $30,000, which is still an insane amount of money. So Milestones is a really huge piece of advice that I try to give people is understand what your community is capable of, which you'll learn over time of doing charity things and setting reasonable goals for them and have plans for if they break that goal. I see a ton. I think that's one of the huge ways I've ended up raising a ton of money is we've broken goals and then we break another goal, like another huge goal. And I see a lot of charity creators hit their goal of like, I don't know, $4,000 or $5,000, and then they just stop. And one of the biggest ways they could really go about that, right, is we'll take the huge list of milestones and we'll split it in half, and we'll have ones that we probably don't get to, right? But we'll have those waiting and ready to go in case we hit that goal. So when we did hit $30,000 raised, which was amazing, I was immediately able to go, oh, and look, here's more milestones. And a lot of times presenting people with such lofty goals can deter them from donating, right? Like if somebody comes into a stream and sees $100,000 goal, they may not want to donate $1 for that, right? But every dollar counts. But if they come in and see a $10,000 goal, right, they'll be like, my $5 is going to get us closer to that, or another milestone, right? Like, and that's one of the ways I end up having like 1 million milestones is because I want people to have like reachable goals for stuff. And even if they're smaller things, it's still really nice. But I also end up doing things like eating, like drinking pickle juice and stuff. So
Punishing yourself
eternally
is what you do.
Very much. Like I long ago discovered that the more embarrassment or often pain I go through, the more chat seems to want it, which I just chalk Twitch chat up to being masochistic or sadist. Sadist, I think is the right word.
I mean, the shark onesie and the hat.
Yes.
That was
So
the best
if you
one.
guys see, I have this giant window out here, but I have a camera that points out this, and so one of the biggest, one of the most embarrassing moments of my life is I have a giant shark onesie, a light up Mardi Gras hat, and it was one of those times where I was like, this was a milestone. It was like, I'll get it, or it was a target. I'll get into it, and somebody was like, how much to walk down and wave at the camera, and very quickly had to come up with an amount that I think, not only that I think that person would potentially donate, but I think would be worth it for me to do it, because that was really embarrassing. And I ended up saying, do $2,000 in matching donations and put it up to the community, which they met, which ultimately raised $4,000, right? In nearly an instant. But that's also how I ended up walking 3 blocks away in a shark onesie and light up Mardi Gras hat in the middle of the day and looking like a crazy person. But it raised a ton of money for charity. So
Speed Freak wants to see the hat.
wants to see. The hat is put away right now. I'm sorry. I should have had it ready to go. You should have.
I do want to take a moment to say, I know a lot of the numbers we're saying are pretty big numbers. They're in the tens of thousands of dollars. But that doesn't mean that you, viewer watching this, chat watching this, maybe you don't have that crazy energetic chat that you know of. Maybe you only set your goal for $100, for $500. Maybe you only raise $25, $50. Oh my goodness, that is so huge. You should be majorly proud of yourself and majorly proud of your donors, because even raising just $1 is huge. You have no idea. It is actually those little donations, it is actually those little goals that build up and make the bulk of what happens for these charities. So do not be afraid if you only raise $10, $25, $50. That is huge, and you are a hero, and you should be really proud of yourself for doing so.
Absolutely. It's one
That
of the reasons why teams are so important to me, I think. Because it seems like I do a ton of work, right? But compared to the teams that I'm a part of or put together or help found, um, collectively as a group, including the people who raise 25 bucks or $50, like we do more collectively and with these spread out communities than I could ever do by myself. And I ended up founding like 2 teams this year, which still blows it. I like this year has been crazy. But I helped found 2 teams this year, Royal Hearts to help raise money for American Heart Association, and Control Alt Donate as a general fundraising team. And collectively, those teams have raised $200,000 for charity, which is just an insane amount for founding them both this year. But that's this year, and I've raised $200,000 for charity by myself. So like over my entire course of raising money for charity. So it's like we did more in 1 year as a group with people, like we have fundraisers raise like 25 bucks, right? And 30 bucks and 50 bucks and 100 bucks, but like all of them collectively has raised so much money together, more than I ever could even in my lifetime, right? And we did all that in a year. So even the smallest campaigns is taking the numbers that I'm saying and adjusting them for your community is probably one of the most important parts.
And I don't think we
Very
can
much
understate the value of, well, just raising awareness, right? Of just, even if you're fundraising for someone, you raise $1, or even if you don't raise anything, you're still letting people know about an issue that they may not know about before. I think that was Connor's big thing with the immunodeficiency fund, is that it's shining. The big thing is it's shining light on an issue a lot of people don't know about, and that is just as valuable in some instances as a monetary donation. So don't ever underplay that either.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. All right. So next thing we're going to talk about, I know Smashley briefly talked about it. I don't have an example image because not enough people use this feature, and it is one of my favorite features. So all of you in chat, your next fundraising campaign, I'm going to challenge you to make targets. Targets are those micro goals. So similar to milestones, you can say, you know what, if we raise 50 bucks in the next hour, I will do this bonus milestone. I will do this extra thing. But it's a timer, it is a set timer, and they have to donate specifically to that target. But it's really fun because it can really add that emphasis, that importance of, we need to raise a little bit of money. We need to get this going. And I don't know. I think it's a really exciting feature. I think it's underutilized. So
It
next,
absolutely is. I underutilize it, right? But I also use the idea of it. Like
mhm,
I verbally do targets more because
you
most of
do.
mine are spontaneous. Mine are like, okay, you're gonna dare me to do that? Fine, I'll put a price on it, right? And that's usually how it goes. But having those put in place and visually for the people who are not there for like the verbal call out is infinitely better. So yeah, there was a micro goal. I think somebody in chat just brought it up. So one of the best targets I ever did was the final. I think I mentioned earlier, we raised $63,000 for St. Jude this year, which was bonkers. But on the final day of fundraising for me, we entered the day at 50,000, and I mean, we had been fundraising all month, and I was just, my whole goal was like, I really wanted to beat last year's total of $62,000. And I kind of went into that final day a little disheartened. I was like, there is zero way we are raising $12,000 in a day. And zero was a very, that was not a great estimate, by the way, as you guys can tell. Because we ended up raising $13,000 in a day because I made a target for that day. I said something that Chad had been asking. They had been paying like $100 very frequently, by the way, to make me do an ooh woo, which is very embarrassing, and I don't want to do that. And But I really wanted to beat my last year's total, so I said I would do an entire uwu stream where the entire stream is just me being overly cutesy uwu. If we beat last year's total, so I set a target for that day because it's the final day of fundraising. And they did, and so I still have to fulfill that, by the way. I may
Please let me
be
know when you do,
procrastinating.
because it might be a lot of fun.
I may be procrastinating that a little bit, so yeah, that has to happen sometime soon. But it just goes to show that, like, I think targets are very much one of the best ways to fundraise, especially if you can find something that your community wants, right? So whether that is if you play Destiny 2, right, doing a certain raid that you may hate, but they want to see, or doing one of my targets was doing a makeup stream and doing a get ready with me stream, and doing that was like, it was very nerve-wracking for me, but it was super well received by the community and stuff. And so it's very much finding those things that your community is passionate about, and giving them a time limit on it, and saying, this isn't just a milestone, this is a milestone with a time limit.
Our next thing is one of our newer features, Amplify. So many fundraisers say, I have a wonderful community that wants to help, but either they can't donate or they want to do something in addition to donating. Amplify is how they can do that. On the campaign page at the top now, it's going to be at the top, there's going to be a button that says Amplify this campaign. If your donor or chat member hits that button, they can generate a unique to them URL, and they can share it on their own social media platforms, whether that be Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, Facebook, wherever. And that link, if people donate to it, it goes to the main fundraising campaign. And you can either create an Amplify link anonymously or give your name, so that the fundraiser says, say, Smashley, I'm going to create an Amplify link for Smashley's campaign. Smashley can then see, oh, Izzy Amplify link raised $100, and that went to Smashley's campaign. But it's a cool way you can do that for incentives. You can say, create a Amplify link and you get entered into a drawing for something. It's a really great way to kind of help branch out and spread the awareness about a campaign. So very excited about this feature.
I really love this feature because it's a way I always get, like, people go, I can't really donate, and be like, that's okay. One, showing up to, like, charity streams and that sort of thing is really beneficial, but also just spreading awareness of going, hey, here's how you can donate. And they're really, like, short, simple links that you can just throw to somebody else, or put on social media, or DM to your friends and family, and be like, here's how you do.
Exactly. So Amplify, love it. You should utilize it. Auctions, also one of our newest features. Smashley, have you done an auction yet?
I did. I got to do it for the first time. If you guys see behind me, I have lots of shoes. I have lots and lots of
That's
shoes.
a better view.
And so, yeah, you can see back here. And so I actually auctioned off a pair of my shoes. As a lot of people, I own about 200 pairs of high heels, which is a lot. And so that was I was super excited when you guys announced auctions. So it helped raise about $200, which was great. Honestly, I was just impressed, like, it went for that much. But any amount was awesome. But I've also seen it being used recently. That, like, I think it was like Pokimane raised like $500,000 just to play games with her, which is bonkers.
That was a crazy thing. That actually was some troll bids. People were being trolly, and so we actually, our dev team, wonderful team, within a day implemented a new verification system.
Good.
So in order to create an auction house, you have to be verified, and you can do that right from your dashboard. It's real easy. Usually takes a little bit of time since we do manually review them. And then you can put however many items you want on the auction house. If your donors want to bid on an item, they also have to verify a couple of things, and their credit card must be entered to be pre-approved. So there
Cool.
are a couple little safeguards in place, but I mean, C-Dog did have his charity auction on Friday, and everything was an auction item, and he raised over $500,000 for the Immune
Holy-
Deficiency Foundation.
That's amazing.
So
That was absolutely amazing.
very exciting feature, and I've seen all sorts of items being put up from bid. I know Amanda from St. Jude decided just to do a box of random things that she found on her desk, and that raised a little bit of money. So that's
Really?
cool.
That's
Yes.
awesome. You're like, hey guys, here's a random box. I don't know what's in it. It's random stuff from my
Pretty
desk.
much. And it's a lot of fun. So definitely, if auctions are our newest feature, if you have questions, we're more than happy to answer. But definitely, it's a really cool feature. That said, this next feature that we're going to talk about is probably everybody's favorite. It is donation matching.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. I think this is probably the best feature you guys have ever added and has absolutely catapulted my campaigns to new heights. It is, I'll let you describe it, but hands down the best.
So, donation match challenges: if a donor wants to donate at least $250 or up to $50,000, they can donate it as a donation match challenge, meaning they can say, for the next hour, up to 5 days, I'm going to match all to a specific amount. So, as you can see this example, somebody did a donation match for $500 for the next 5 days. So for the next 5 days, up to the next $500, W Reds Investments is going to match up to $500. And like I said, it could be as little as an hour, up to 5 days. And it's a lot of fun. And something a lot of people don't know is that they stack. Last night I saw Poopwitch had a × 5 donation match going on. So that $1 is $5, $100 was $500, which it can get pretty crazy very quickly, but it's very exciting. It's very fun. I want to say the record right now was by Bloody Faster at a ×11, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, during the St. Jude, there was like a competition going around between a lot of the creators, like who can get the highest multiplier on the donation match, and it was crazy to see it go from like 7 to 8 to like, and then Bloody Faster was like, oh yeah, my community did 11, and it's like, oh okay, all right, it's just a small amount.
It's really fun because all communities they're excited to donate. And, someone in your community does have the means and the capability to do a larger donation. Have them do it as a donation match, because then, somebody that can only donate $10, that $10 is suddenly $20. That's huge, and that is amazing, and it's very exciting. So, donation match challenges, very exciting feature. Probably my personal favorite right now.
Yeah, I think for my campaign this year, I think we had almost 20 different donation matches throughout the campaign, ranging anywhere from $250 to $2,000 in some cases. And I think the best part is there was only one that carried over to like the next day. Every single other one was either like done in like 5 minutes or maybe over the next like 30 minutes, depending on how large it was. But it's absolutely a humongous incentive for people who don't have $250 to donate. They have $10 or $5 to donate to immediately donate, because then it gives that time incentive, but also they're getting even more rewarded for it. They're getting they're getting double their money's worth, you know, when they donate, and or triple or 11 times if you're bloody faster.
Another thing to mention about donation matches is if you're creating a match, you have the option to say, you know, I'm going to donate the full amount, whether it gets met or not. So say you do make a donation match for $500, but, you know, only 250 gets met. You have the option to either donate the full 500 at the end of it when it's said and done, or to only donate the amount that was matched. So you can only donate the 250, but either way, it's so huge and it's so exciting. All right, next slide. We also have employer matching enabled. So it's a little bit not super intuitive at the moment. We are working on that. But I think it was Dr. Lupo said at the Play Live Summit that during his last Build Against Cancer, $60,000 of what was raised was done through employer matching. So if your place of employment does employer matching, if your chat that's donating, if their places of work does employer matching, ask them to check it out. Once they go through the donation flow, they can search for their employer right on Tiltify to say, do they match donations? So don't be afraid of using this feature. You know, that is money sitting on the table that can be going towards your campaign.
Employer matching is great, by the way. I have somebody who every year for St. Jude, he works for Microsoft and knows Microsoft will match and donates an insane amount of money, honestly, just to be like, hey, Microsoft, you're going to pay this too. and it's great though. I mean, if in a way you could be like, hey, I'm getting back at my company that I work for, and be like, stick it to the man, and make them give to charity too, you know. And the amount of employers that you guys have listed here is amazing. I love it. Even if it's not as intuitive as I think we'd all like, it's still great that it even exists at all.
Very so. Next slide, Bonfire. Bonfire is a platform where you can make t-shirts, sweaters, all sorts of apparel, and a portion of the proceeds does go to your Tiltify campaign. So this is one that I know we're also working with a little bit more. But if you say, you know, I want to make a t-shirt for my campaign using the guidelines, so a lot of charities do have guidelines about what you can or cannot do. But yeah, that's a great way. You know, everybody loves merch. So I know we're kind of a little close on time, so I'm going to go through the next slide slightly quickly. Digital fitness. I don't have a screenshot for this one, but Tiltify connects with Garmin, Apple, I want to say, and Strava. And, you know, if you're going to say, I'm going to do 10,000 steps for charity, you can see that right on your Tiltify campaign. You can see miles, you can see activity, you can see all sorts of details. So if you are an active person, if you're an activity person and you want to use that as a part of your campaign, you can. Nice and easy to do so.
I think I'm going to be doing this next year.
Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. With all the fitness stuff I've been doing, I think it's
true.
It's a very easy choice for me. I just gotta get it all set up. Yeah.
Like
see,
it.
my chat is already like, now we need a workout stream. Let's go.
I love it. As we were talking about earlier, teams. So teams are a group of fundraisers that you are all fundraising for a collective goal. So in this screenshot, we have a current team that's going on made by Lil Senzi, Sabres for Palestine. 26 fundraisers are all coming together to try to raise $100,000 for Palestine's Children Relief Fund. And all donations that are done to the individual campaigns goes to the greater total. I know my team that I helped found, Charity Braves, I think we just recently passed $250,000 for St. Jude as a team collectively. That is
Amazing.
incredible to say I'm a small part of that. So definitely, if you have some friends that you're like, let's get together and do something cool for charity, utilize the Teams feature. It's really, really cool.
Honestly, teams have been amazing. I like with the teams I've been a part of or helped participate in or helped found. Um, it's such an insane number to say, but over $500,000 raised for charity, which is just mind-boggling to me. But I think the big thing with teams is this year I helped found 2 teams, and I see a bunch of the members of those teams in chat. And not only is it a way to feel like you're a part of something bigger, to have an accomplishment of I helped raise this, right? So like we had some people that raised, like $100, but collectively as a team, we raised $173,000. And they get to go and be proud of that number too, right? Like that's a huge number. And they should be too. Like they helped get us there. And I think the other really big thing is it's often not just a collection of streamers, it's a collection of knowledge too. And so there is a ton of people who are going to be on that team that maybe have more experience, can help with different things, can help you, like figure out ideas for stuff, and also like share, like people, like different like viewers, streamers, like bringing people of different communities together and that sort of thing. Like I think Funk Smash, who is in chat right now, was so worried about how much money he would raise, especially as someone who like in terms of like size of broadcasting is definitely like smaller than I am, but ends up raising an insane amount of money. I think he raised $3,000 for St. Jude this year, and helped like he actually helped like come up with some of the best ideas that we collectively as a team. So like you were mentioning Danica eating the ranch cotton candy and stuff, like a lot of that is thanks to him going, hey, let's eat a bunch of really gross food. And he originally came up with like a cupcake roulette where he would put hot sauce in random different cupcakes and wouldn't know which one he was gonna grab when he ate it for charity. And it was one of the most awful experiences I've ever done, but it was so good to raise money for charity. It was so unbelievably good. So being a part of a team like that, right? Like absolutely can help not only you raise more money, but help be a part of something greater. And I think my first taste of that was GCX, who just got done raising $1 million for St. Jude in 8 days. And yeah, come join our teams. Find a team. There's tons open.
Definitely, definitely. All right, next slide. Our newest feature, customized pages. So if you want your donation page to have dark mode, if you want it to be pink, like I have this one as pink, if you want it to be blue, if you want to change the fonts, if you want for your about section to be at top, if you want for your Twitch channel to be up top. It is modular and you can customize pretty much almost everything. You can say that you want the milestones up top. You do a lot with this, and I have seen some really cool pages built out. This is our newest feature, so I would love to see more of it. And yeah, since this is our newest feature, we don't really have a lot of too many examples about this. This is just an example I made in my testing, but yeah, I think it's really fun.
Yes.
I'm excited to customize my page for the first time.
Yes.
Because this came out after I did my campaign, so I'm like, oh, I'm so excited for my next campaign to make it all pretty.
Yeah,
As someone
I know
who,
a lot of
as someone who really likes to stick with brand colors, I really enjoyed this update and getting to go through and plug in all my hex numbers for my colors. It was just satisfying.
You have a branded color for your
for Weeble Spleen Purple.
For Weeble Spleen Purple.
Nice.
And yeah, your campaign was built out with your colors. And so something I've actually been thinking about is a lot of people are like, how do I get people to find my campaign? You can take ownership by saying, go to tiltify.com/@ Izzy the Sweetest, and that's my campaign page. Then you can go, or to my Tiltify profile, then you can go to my campaign page and it is branded to me. So you can take ownership of your campaign pages and have it be a reflection of you and your brand. So definitely something pretty cool about that. We're coming in towards the end. I want to talk about the Fundraiser Recognition program. So Kenny, you're actually in charge of this program. Do you want to share a little bit about it?
Sure. So, for certain milestones that you hit, total fundraising, total lifetime fundraising, we'll send you out a fancy little pin that you can hang on your wall and display proudly that you and your community have done so much good. Actually, I got them right here. Give me 1 second. I'm so unprepared.
I was about to say, I have so many of these pens. I'm getting close to that 250,000 one, though. That's insane.
Pins do start at $7,500. So if you've raised at least $7,500 on Tiltify, check your dashboard messages on your page, on your profile, because you will have information about how to claim your banner and pins. And if you are a fundraising guru and you raise at least $1 million, we do also send out plaques for
plaques are
various
nice.
milestones over $1 million.
Yeah, Andy, heck yeah, dude. Sorry, I saw somebody saying they just got their first physical badge.
Yeah,
the
that's
other day.
awesome. That makes me so happy.
Yeah,
I love sending
so
out the first
awesome.
ones. We've been sending out so much more lately, and a lot of them are the first time banners and badges, and it's just makes me really happy to send those out so people can display them and show them off.
Very cool. All right, we're coming towards the end here. I want to share our resources. If you ever have questions, you can join our Discord, discord.gg/Tiltify. We have most of the Tiltify staff in there. That said, most support questions we do direct you directly to our ticket system at support@tiltify.com. We say it's a day turnaround time. Usually most answers are given within a few hours, so don't worry about, if you have an urgent question. Our team is more than happy to help, more than happy to support. If you need some brainstorming or fundraising ideas, you can check that out in there. If you have questions for me or Kenny, we're always available. Send us a DM. We're more than happy to help you. Okay, so do not be afraid. If you need anything at all, I am giving you permission to bug us. We love being bugged. We love talking about charity fundraising. You are actually doing us a service by reaching out to us with questions. It makes us happy.
Plus,
So do not
Izzy's
be
great to
afraid.
reach out to. She's awesome.
She is.
Thank
And
you.
if you have any,
Weeble's questionable.
yeah, it's true. I won't debate that. No, but even if you have like pictures of your new pins that you've gotten, or funny clips if you hit milestones, you want to celebrate your community, your fundraising in any way, come hang out with us. We definitely want to celebrate with you. Give you
Pretty
permission to
much
bug
so.
Kenny. Simon, get out of here. Someone ban Simon for me. He's from my chat. He's the one that voted for Flicky.
So yeah, Tiltify is trusted by over 6,000 charities worldwide. So if you are inspired by this webinar to fundraise, but you don't know who to fundraise for, we have so many options. Choose something that is close to your heart. Choose something that you're passionate about, whether it be hunger, whether it be opportunities for less fortunate, whether it be children's health. If there's something that you're passionate about, you can make a difference by fundraising. And again, even if you don't fundraise that much money, that awareness piece, that passion piece, it is so important. So do not be afraid to just start, to just give it a go. And that is the end of the deck. So I think next, let's go ahead and do a little bit of a Q&A.
Yeah, so hit us with questions, guys. Yeah.
Oh, I just did. Well, hold on.
What did you do?
Can you open that back
Izzy.
up, Izzy?
Izzy, you look amazing, by the
Oh,
way,
thank
right now.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Really like the new hairstyle you're rocking right now. It's very
Yeah.
nice.
Izzy, can you open that PowerPoint back up?
I did.
Okay,
Oh,
cool.
but
And
open
share
it
it.
in Discord.
Yeah, I moved all my windows.
What is a stream without a couple of tech issues? That's the real question.
Yeah.
Also, in the meantime, by the way, chat, ask away if you guys have any questions on fundraising, Tiltify, for me, for Izzy or Kenny, ask away. I am the new Izzy. It's true. I've taken over Izzy's life, job, title, everything.
Everything. Fundraiser hype woman.
Andy's asking what's a reliable way to go about finding a dono match.
It's a matter of knowing your community and saying, you know, I don't want to bug my community, but talk about it. If you say, oh, right now we don't have a donation match, but if you're thinking of donating and you want to donate at least $250 because you're in the means to do so, encourage them to do it as a donation match. You know, don't bug if they don't do it as a donation match, but you know, talking about these features because a lot of your donors might not know. So if you take on the role as a fundraiser saying, oh, did you know that XYZ can happen? You know, if somebody makes a donation match in the next hour, then I'll do something fun. So I know Smashley
Too
has
real.
experience with that.
Yeah, I have experience with that. I think that's one of the best ways to do it is if you have an idea of a target, and let's use target in the appropriate sense here of something where you want to make something happen but put a limited amount of time on it. Um, by making it a minimum of $250 or making it a donation match, you suddenly are putting a time limit on that, right? And saying, hey, if I get a donation, any donation match, and the next give them a time limit, then I'll do insert here, right? But that also provides another time limit for the next set of donations that come in. And this is kind of how you get that steamroll sort of mentality of what's going in chat of donations coming in frequently is by doing stuff like that. Like, right, you get that one donation in that you put a target on, and then suddenly you get more donations in trying to meet that match. So honestly, I think the big thing is trying to find something that your community would be willing to pay $250 for. So that I think that's the hard part. But you know, I could recommend a shark onesie and a light up Mardi Gras hat or you know, ranch cotton candy with ranch soda. It's really bad, but you know, you could do it.
Incentives.
It's sort of related to it. A few people are asking, you know, how do they know how they get matching donations from their company that they work for or from an organization. I used to actually work in the charity space, and I was the guy who asked the companies for matching donations. I'm the one that sent them the form. 9 times out of 10, those companies just have a big pool of money that they set aside for matching donations, and you just got to email HR or a manager and say, hey, I made this donation. Do we do a matching one? And they'll send an email or a form out to that charity, and everything kind of happens in the background. So all you got to do is ask someone.
That outreach, really.
Yeah, ask them. Yeah, and chances are pretty good that they do matching gifts.
See, Simon asks, is there an easy way to tie in those polls from the page onto the stream? Yes, that's actually, oh, I should have done a slide. We have an overlay builder. Yeah. We have an overlay builder built in on Tiltify on your campaign dashboard that you can do the donation bar up top. You can do widgets such as polls or rewards. It's very customizable. So that's definitely something you can utilize on your stream. So right there in the overlay builder, you will see that you can customize the colors, all of it.
Yeah, and it's
Looks
just
I
like a
have
little widget that you pop in.
Yeah, by the way, use that. Use the overlay. It's really good. I have a question that like 3 people are trying to highlight. Um, but how do we all suggest smaller channels start fundraising without feeling down or overwhelmed? Because I've seen so many small creators afraid to jump in head first. Um, I guess I can start because I mean, I haven't always been, I guess, a large creator or anything. Is recognize your limits, right? Just because a large creator is fundraising and raising $63,000 over the course of a month-long period doesn't mean you need to as well, right? You can be a part of a team. Being a part of a team, I think, is the quickest and easiest way to get into fundraising as a smaller creator. You're gonna feel like you're a part of something greater. You're going to help fundraise more. You're going to learn a lot more. But I think also the other thing is knowing your limits. Like if streaming or something is one of your primary sources of income and you are fundraising for an entire month, you are, essentially removing an entire month's worth of pay from your own life, right? And maybe don't do that, right? Like maybe come in and do like a week or a day or something. Like I know I have friends who are larger than myself, and I'll ask them, "Hey, do you want to come fundraise with us for a month?" And they'll be like, "No, but I'll do a day," right? Or they'll be like, "I'll jump in for a week," or something along those lines. So it's recognizing your limits and then also adjusting those milestones, goals, targets, everything to what you think your community can do. Make sure you're pricing things appropriately, right? Like don't just because you see me do an uwu for $100 doesn't mean your community is going to do that as well, right? It's making sure those price points are reflective as to what your community wants to do.
I want to say, so I'm not a streamer, I'm not a content creator. For St. Jude this year, I raised over $1,000 by doing a poll of what movie I'm going to watch for the first time. I set a milestone that if we hit this amount, I'm going to live stream my reaction. And there was a battle, and I ended up watching a horror movie, which I hate horror movies, and I ended up live streaming it. So you can get creative without being even a streamer because, like I said, I'm not a streamer, but still I was able to utilize Tiltify's tools and raise a I'm very proud of the fact that I raised over $1,000 for St. Jude. So do not be afraid to get creative on or off camera.
Absolutely. I think that's a really big point I wanna bring up that I don't think we got to bring up during the slides is one of the largest ways I end up raising so much for charity is the amount of work that goes into things off stream, like from planning to figuring out the milestones to using Tiltify's features, which does require time to plug those in and add them to Tiltify and making sure that your page is set up looking properly and gives people the options to donate and more in fun ways, but also reaching out to companies, right? And I know a lot of people may go, but you're Smashley, right? Like you have like clout or pull or whatever, but you would be absolutely amazed at how much one of 2 scenarios will happen if you reach out to some large company about, hey, can you help me raise money for charity? And if you phrase it like that, right? If you go and reach out to these companies, go, I'm going to raise money for charity. Can you help me in any way, right? And give them options. One of 2 things will happen. Either they're going to feel obligated to do so because you're doing it for charity, or they already want to. And a lot of these major companies have excess supplies, excess resources that are just sitting around, like, older products, that sort of things that they can maybe give away or raffle off, and so on and so forth. And you never know unless you ask. And so I think the best thing that advice I can give for people is when reaching out to companies, other streamers, anything like that, is the answer is always no until you ask, right? So make sure you at least ask, right? Like send them an email, shoot them a message on Twitter or Discord or something, and you would be so surprised at what they may come back with or how they may help. Because I think just like this year, for St. Jude's campaign, with all the companies I reached out to, it was really crazy because a week leading up, we had I think we had like $500 worth of stuff we were going to raffle off. By the time we started the campaign, we had $10,000 worth of stuff we were going to raffle off because so many companies came through and were like, here, take this, raffle it off, help, like do good with this, right? Go do good. And it's amazing how much you can get back with that.
Definitely. So, I mean, I know even I was able to reach out to a lot of them have the budget for this. You can reach out to these companies and say, hi, I'm doing a charity campaign. Is there anything you could do for me? 9 times out of 10, I've experienced this myself. They say, yes, I have the budget specifically for this.
Yeah. So they have like a preset budget for charity stuff. Like, and oftentimes they're looking for a way or means to spend it or a reason to spend that budget, right? Like, otherwise they have to go at the end of the year and go, oh, we got to figure out what we're doing with the charity budget, right? And if you're giving them a reason to use that budget, amazing.
And technically, by having them help you, you're opening the doors for more opportunities in the future for other fundraisers. Because in the scenario that Smashley was talking about, that at the end of the year they have all this budget and nothing to do with it, well, guess what? Next year they're probably going to have a smaller budget. But if you do some amazing things with them, then that's going to help them grow. That's going to help you grow. And it's definitely wonderfully beneficial for everybody involved the more you ask. So
Absolutely. I think one of the biggest things is one of my main games is Star Citizen, and every single charity campaign since I started asking them, they have given a absolute insane amount of stuff for us to give away. And on top of that, it's furthered my relationship with them. But even beyond that, companies I didn't think would ever get back to me would get back to me and be like, hey, this sounds amazing, let's do this. But now I have relationships with those companies and I've even gotten sponsored by companies I never thought I would ever be sponsored by. Like, I'm sponsored by NCXT, which started off as honestly asking them, hey, do you want to help a charity? And so now I'm sponsored by them, and now they're like, hey, how can we help with your next charity thing? Now they're like, can we send, an absolutely massive package? And so I think this year they gave not only like keyboards and mouse and everything, but like this $700 speaker package that I think Dictator, I think, is in chat one. And it's just like the amount of stuff that you can have to further your campaign is amazing. Like if you are one of the creators that are like, I only raise $50 every year, or I only raise $100. Can you imagine how easy it would be to raise like 5 times that amount if you have something worth $100 that you can raffle off or give away? Say like everybody who like donates $20 or is entered into for a chance to win this. Right? If it's worth $100, you know how many people are going to be like, $20? Heck yeah, it's going to charity? Heck yeah, easy. So becomes this very easy system of let us help you raise more money.
I do want to say a quick legal note, not a lawyer or any of that, but
make sure you're above board on that.
Make sure you're above board when it comes to raffles. Check out the local laws in your area because there are laws associated with some things. But 9 times out of 10, if you have a free entry, a way to do a free entry, you should be good. But check the laws in your area.
With how much money I've raised for charity, I hired my lawyer to make sure, like, hey, can you write us up some terms of service to make sure we're following all the laws and making sure we're doing good, which was great. But even if anything, even if you're like, hey, we have a giveaway going or something along those lines, as long as there's a free entry method, usually you're pretty good. But double check your local laws.
Very much so. Speed Freak asks, do you find it easier around the beginning of the year to raise funds around tax time, or is it not really a seasonal thing? I will say globally, I'm pretty sure tax time is at different times throughout the year.
Mhm.
So I don't really notice a difference. If anything, I think probably October, November, December, especially, is where we see a spike in donations because it's the end of the year. People have some extra budget that they're giving away for gifts. So December tends to actually be one of the busiest fundraising seasons. And then I want to say it's both January, February, and actually July tend to be some
Yeah.
slower months.
Yeah, I agree. And it's definitely seasonal. Um,
Mhm.
in some small or large ways, right? Like there's certain months that are just easier for people to donate and some ones that are harder for people to donate. I think it just depends on sort of global economy.
Yeah, I think
All right.
usually it starts ramping
Oh,
up in September, and then just it hits the wall running around Thanksgiving. Is really when it kicks off.
but all right. Are there any last questions before we wrap up? I want to thank everybody for showing up today. This VOD will be available on our Twitch channel, and I believe we will also be uploading it to our YouTube,
We
so
will.
you can use it to reference. Follow all of us on social media. You can follow Tiltify at Tiltify pretty much everywhere. You can follow Smashley on Twitter/X at Smashley Twitch, correct?
Yes, that's it.
Did I
You can
get?
find me on Twitch at Smashley, but I think nearly everywhere else it's Smashley Twitch.
Oh, and let me, well, I have a moment. Oh, what am I doing? Let me also link for everybody.
Oh, thank you.
I made you command today, Smash.
Oh my god, a whole command
Yeah, and I
for
got to use
me?
it twice.
Oh my god. Got to make a I make you guys a command every time I'm raising money for charity.
Okay, it's
See,
a scary link, but that Notion link is the charity fundraising stream incentive board that has been collectively made by various fundraisers, and it is a great resource.
heck yeah.
But all right, if that's it, thank you everybody for showing up. Thank you so much, Smashley, for sharing your time with us and your experience.
Thank you so much for having me. This was really, really great.
Oh, it was our
Thank you.
pleasure.
But
And
all right,
thank you everyone
we
for
will.
tuning in and hang out with us all over on our socials and in our Discord. We'd love to hear from you. I guess until
Love
next.
you
All right.
guys.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.